Hey, OU. Um, we're going to go over using the Hamilton C1 under the pediatric adult tab for pediatrics between 3 kilograms and 10 kilograms. So anytime we're dropping below 10 kilograms, what we're going to need to do is first switch to the Neo circuit. We're going to the smaller circuit. What won't change is you're going to keep the adult valve for the expiratory side. There is a neonatal valve, but because we're staying under the adult peds tab, not using the neonatal mode down to 3 kilograms, we're going to keep the adult valve in there for the expiratory side. The other part that you're going to keep is I've got the neo circuit here. I'm using the adult pediatric flow sensor. So we're just going to adapt that directly into the end of the neonatal circuit. So I've connected the inspiratory and expiratory limbs, the expiratory flow sensor from the adult connection, and then your adult peds flow sensor. This is where we need to just remember that this is a 10 mil dead space. So when we're setting up the patient and we're targeting volumes, whether we're in a volume mode or in pressure mode, and we want to maintain a certain volume, we want to make sure we're compensating for the fact that we've got 10 mils of dead space in here. But this will be your setup for patients 10 kilograms to 3 kilograms on the Hamilton C1s that you guys currently have using the adult peds tab. Once that's set up, you're going to connect the interface that you'll be going to the ET tube with, and then your ET tube and your pediatric patient connection. From there, on the actual C1, I'm going to jump over real quick. And hopefully you guys can see everything okay. Once we're set up, we're going to go into the modes. And I'm going to choose a volume mode. We could do pressure as well, but just to demonstrate the compensation for the tab, we're going to confirm. And what I want to do is I want to drop this mils per kilogram down to whatever weight. And I'm going to go all the way down. I'm already a little bit further, but I'm going to actually go with the weight of this patient. I'm not using the height now because we're talking such a small patient. We know they are 3 kilograms. So we can go up 3.8 over 4, but we're going to go with 3. And it already puts in a mils. And I'm going to jump over to the controls, and I can see that it put it in at 8.3 mils per kilogram. We want to start around 6 mils per kilogram, depending on patient, depending on physician preference. But if we want to start closer to 6, at 3 mils per kilogram, I can get down to about 6.7 mils per kilogram for this patient. 18 would put us right at about 6. When we're thinking about that flow sensor and the additional dead space of 10 mils, we want to put that over the top of what we're trying to target. So the fact that we're already 2 above, that's good. We're starting there. I can go up to 25 mils, so now we're 7 over compensated for, or we could go up to 30 at this case. Now we're 12 over compensating. So it just depends on where you want to be in that range and the range you have to work with. 25 mils puts us at what would be 8.3 mils per kilogram, but 7 of that is compensating for that larger flow sensor since we're still using the adult ped flow sensor. That's all we're doing on here. And then we're going to go ahead and move forward with starting ventilation. The flow trigger, remember, starts at 5 liters per minute under the adult peds tab. That may need to be lower and will most likely need to be lower. So if we drop that down, we can move it as needed. If we see the patient struggling to trigger, we can keep going down. We could always go all the way down to 0.5 liters per minute. If we're seeing auto triggering, we can always move it up a little bit. So starting at a lower than 5 is probably going to be necessary. Where that exactly falls is going to be very patient dependent, but you do have a good range to work with, making sure that they aren't working too hard to trigger the ventilator. From that point on, it's going to function just like it does at any other time. It's just making sure we've switched to the neonatal circuit, still using the adult ped expiratory flow sensor and adult ped adult ped expiratory valve and the adult ped flow sensor with the neonatal circuit in between, and then compensating for that loss of dead space in the larger flow sensor. Thanks for taking a little time and listening. Have a good afternoon. Thank you.